Welcome to At the Vanguard. We're TB Vanguard, and our motto is for fans by fans. We showcase fans on the front line of the Team Breezy movement. This podcast is an open forum to discuss current topics as they relate to Chris Brown and his fan base.
Hey, welcome to At the Vanguard. Today is May 20th, 2023, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Nikki.
I'm Paula.
I'm Tasha.
I'm Brooklyn.
And I'm Theo.
Thank you all for coming. We're very excited to talk to you finally, because the Under the Influence tour was a big success, and we're really happy. So we're just sort of closing it out. But you guys went to quite a few shows.
Yes.
So can you tell us what made you go first to Dublin? That's the first, because you live in Birmingham, right?
Yeah, well, we live in Birmingham, but also home is also London as well, because we're always in London, and like for birthdays or for occasions or family or anything like that. So we're always between Birmingham and London. But we were born and raised in Birmingham, but we also have like family in New York as well. So when we'll talk about that later. But we also saw like Chris on the Heartbreak on a Full Moon. That was our first show that we ever saw him in another country.
No, we saw him. We saw him in Paris.
Yeah.
So we went to Dublin because when we were looking for tickets initially, he'd only released like a few dates, not loads.
Oh yeah.
And the tickets were crazy. Like everyone went for it. There was like a pre-sale to a pre-sale, and we were like there, like an hour before. But it was just kind of luck of the draw. And then what happened was we couldn't get the Birmingham ticket, and we were like, oh, let's see what we can do. And we got a London ticket. So that's what we initially said. We'll go to one of the London shows. And then he released more dates, and we saw the Dublin show was a new one, which we could get tickets for. And it was going to be the first one, because he had a Dublin show, which was then the second one. So we were like, well, let's go to Dublin, because from in England to Dublin, it's not far and it's not that expensive either.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so like a flight is like what, 20-30 pounds. So it was, yeah. So it's really, really easy actually. So we went to Dublin with me, Brooklyn, and our brother, because we wanted to be there for the first show.
Right.
Yeah, we wanted to see the first show because we always wanted to experience that.
Yeah, the first show of the tour. So that's what we did then. And then we saw him in London. And then more dates were getting released, and we wanted to go to the last show. So then we went to London again a month later. So he did a couple more shows in England, and then he went around Europe, and then he came back. And we were like, oh, let's get the London one. It's the last show. Mm-hmm. And then he released Birmingham, which was the last show. And that was like around the corner. So he's like, let's just go to Birmingham. And because he hadn't been to the UK for so long, and we saw him like in Paris, in New York. We've seen him a couple of times in New York, and we really wanted to see him. And we saw him when he first came to England, like in 2009.
Yeah, we saw him.
Oh, wow.
We saw him the first ever time, like when it was his first tour out here. We saw him on the exclusive tour. That was his first tour. I think.
Wow.
I think in the States it was up close and personal, but they never had that. And the first tour was exclusive tour, and that's where we went. We went to that,
and we actually did a meet and greet at that tour.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we met him in 2009. And do you want to tell her the story, how like you bought a ticket for the meet and greet?
Back then it wasn't like, now we're more fortunate, like we work and everything like that, and we're able to go to so many shows. It's like a blessing from God.
Mm-hmm.
But back then we wasn't very fortunate. So like with the money that I saved and I had, I was like, when I knew, like I never forget the first time I saw him, and I was like, who is this fine brother? I just thought to myself, and I was just so in awe, and I was being the same age as him. It doesn't matter like what age you are, but like just having that connection with him. I like was now I'm 34. I grew up with him, and like back then, like when I wanted to, when I knew the meet and greet was coming, I was like, I'm gonna go for it, and I had the money that I saved, so I bought a ticket, and it was back then it was different. It was like on it wasn't the shop Chris Brown official. It was like it was like it was I think Auntie, like his auntie had a page, and it went through that, and so I purchased it, and then
but you only purchased one?
Yeah,
because I'm younger, so I couldn't go.
Yeah,
I could only get tickets to the concert.
Yeah.
But then when we got there,
then when we got to the venue, we lined up and everything like that, and then we got inside, and then we saw his auntie, and then she saw me, and then she knew that I had introduced myself, and she was just checking, and then I was like, I didn't lie, but I thought that the ticket was for like 2 people, and she saw how sad my sister was. She let my sister
for one ticket because we didn't know, and then what she did was she was like, just come on in, and then we both see him.
She gave us like a free. She gave a free meet and greet to my sister. And she saw on her face how much it was. She didn't want my sister to like feel left out, and that's how beautiful, because it is a family. That's how they treat you, and that's how Chris has always treated everyone, and that's how his like mother and his auntie has. And when she saw my sister's face, like that's how it is. That's family, and she didn't want to leave my sister there like on her own or leave her left out, and that just shows the truth. That they like how Chris wears his heart on his sleeve. That shows their hearts as well. Like they truly, it's about family for them. And like and I'll never forget that they did something like that, very kind. And my sister wasn't left out, and I'll never forget that. And so that's something that we can tell, as like we always tell everybody, like we always defend them and everything like that. And yeah.
That's wonderful. Now that was, you said 2009, but wasn't that like 2007?
No, he did the exclusive. Was it? It was.
Yeah,
it was in 2009
was graffiti, and remember, graffiti. So 2007, 2007, 2008.
Yeah, it was 2007 because I was in 08.
No, it wasn't. It was 2009, January 14th, 2000.
No, because I was
right before everything. Okay.
And 1 minute.
Yeah, because exclusive was definitely 2009, wasn't it?
No,
graffiti was 2009.
I know that in the States he did Up Close and Personal, but his first book, I remember because I was
it must be like a month before everything.
Yeah,
that's why
which makes sense.
Okay.
2009.
He just brought out that song with T-Pain.
I don't know.
Was it Freeze?
Okay.
And he was wearing the same top that
he was wearing an Andy Warhol T-shirt, the same T-shirt that he was wearing in the Freeze
video.
In the Freeze video.
Oh, okay. The Freeze video. Okay.
Yeah. I remember the last thing that I said to him was keep making great music, and I told him what my favorite songs were. So I remember that it was 2009 because that was his first tour. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. But now your meet and greet, how did it go? Were you shy? How'd it go?
My sister's just left the room, so I'll tell you how mine went. And when she comes back in, she can tell you like how it was for her. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for me it was, oh gosh, I was nervous, but I didn't know what to expect. So we were just you go into the room, and what was it?
It was backstage, and we saw Mama Breezy as well.
Yeah, we saw Mama Joyce, we saw Mama Breezy, and we saw Aunt Christine. And do you go first?
what was it? Oh, when I met him, yeah. We took pictures and we spoke to him, and he was really
like how we went into a room.
So they take you like backstage in the arena. There was a room there, so they get everyone there. There was probably like 10 of us, and then we're waiting there, and then he comes in, and it was like him. Because it was so long ago. It was him with his auntie, and there was some other people. I can't remember who they were now, and then he like spoke to each one of us, took a picture with us, gave us a hug, and he's just really nice and really humble.
Yeah, like I just remember we were sitting down there, and then like the reason we like when I tell you that home is also London and New York, the reason we like going to the shows in the States is the vibe is different. It's very, very different. It's more like people know the songs more, and especially like we'll tell you later on about the one of our favorite songs that we wanted to be performed. Like people know the lyrics to it in the States, but like not dissing anyone in the UK or in Europe or anything like that. But it's just different, and that's why we like going. And then also like it's just that feeling. But
Your Man Ain't Me. We really
that was
but he never did because not many people knew that song. And I was
when
Your Man Ain't Me, please.
Most people probably got happy when the game come on, but the game part in when he tells you to choose 3 songs.
Oh yeah, yes.
I think it was 3. I think it was 3.
3 rounds of
3
songs.
rounds.
Yeah.
And then every time that part would come out, the songs we wanted, the songs that people don't really choose, the unreleased ones or the ones someone wouldn't choose.
Ain't No Way, Your Man Ain't Me. We wanted those,
and
no one would cheer for them.
And Your Man Ain't Me. We wanted Your Man Ain't Me. Like when it was the Dublin show, front row, he came and he looked at us, and we were like, Your Man Ain't Me, Your Man Ain't Me, Your Man Ain't Me. And he did. I'll never forget his face. It's one of his mannerisms that he does. The surprise face. Like, really, you want that song?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we want that one.
Because in Dublin, in all the shows except one, because we were seated, we were right at the front row for each, because we got there early. They had like early access, so we paid for the early access, and then we got there even earlier. We would wait in the queue, and we were always like on the railing. Like where the railing is, we were there. We were most of the shows.
We were so fortunate because we've never been like we've gone from being like way in the back to like first show being right at the front, and that's a blessing from God. And to see him there, it was just, we were in awe that when that happened, we were like, yes, we're here, and it's like a dream come true. Like for anybody, and every person should get that opportunity because it's just beautiful. And like for the meet and greet, for me, I was nervous, but like I forgot to say about the meet and greet, but I was just like I told him what my favorite songs were. My favorite songs, like my favorite at the time, what I told him was my favorite song is Dreamer and I Needed You, and I told him that, and he did a smile and he was like, thank you. And then I gave him a hug, and like I grabbed him, like kind of like I gave him a side hug, like by his hip, like hugging him like that. And then he smiled and he was goofy with it. And he's a flirt as well, because I said to him, when I told him keep making great music, he looked me up and down. He goes, yeah, and he did that. And I was like, that's Christopher, the flirt. He loves the ladies. Oh yeah, I didn't know how to say, Virginia, like the hometown. I said Tappanot, and he's like Tappanot. And then I was like, I got like embarrassed because I didn't know how to say it. And then it was like just his humor in that, like he was just guiding me. And then that was the funny moment. And it was lovely meeting his mother as well, like Mama Joyce. Like she I won't go into like all of it because it's personal, but she's also been like a very on social media, like she's shown me a lot of love and everything like that, and she's helped me in like personal things, and like I'm sure, like, there was one Christmas where, like, her clothing line, Rose Marone, you can buy it. Like, I was supporting it, and I had brought something, and I won her Santa onesie, and she sent it to me, and I haven't got a chance to wear it yet. I was supposed to wear it this Christmas, but I just, it's still there, and I've still got it, and hopefully I get to wear it this year. But yeah, I won that, and she sent that to me, and then she also sends like little gifts in there, like an ornament with that says her name on there, like Joyce, a Christmas ornament, and like little rose petals in there, and things like that, just supporting them and everything like that. And she's just like just saying like how she raised her son to be just that meaning of family and how you treat people, and not seeing anyone as less than you or anything like that.
And during the first Dublin show, we had messaged Auntie because Auntie Christine follows me on Instagram, and I messaged her saying, "Oh, we're at the front row," and she came over, and then we waved, and she goes, "Did you just message me?" Yeah. And she gave us a hug, and we got a picture with her as well. Yeah, so it was so cool, and it was really nice. She came over and said, "Oh, welcome it, and hope you're doing well," because we've messaged in the past before.
Yeah, like she used to follow when I was on Instagram, she used to follow me as well. So like we always like message her and give her love, and like we met her on the exclusive tour as well. And when we saw her again, we got a picture with her and we gave her a hug. Like she was just like, even with Mama Joyce, like just so loving, and like that meaning of family and just how they treat you, just like Chris, just like how he treats people. And
that's wonderful. Now this tour, you talked about the people some people not knowing some of the songs. I remember that there were some people who only know, or at least at this particular tour, that only knew Under the Influence, which was really strange because I've never seen that before. Where people
really,
I'd never seen people just know one song by him because he's so famous. His songs are so famous. But
I think it really depends on where.
Remember when Under the Influence got big again? Because it was big anyway because it came out in
2019.
Yeah, right. And then it's been out for ages. But then last year he put a post up and it got like loads of traction again. And I don't know if that's also the same as in the UK as well. Yeah. Most people I know that had went to go see him because there was a lot of people I think on my Instagram going, and they probably all knew like he's like Run It and some of the older songs, maybe some of the new. I'm surprised that some people just knew Under the Influence. I didn't even know that.
I think people have favorites. Like people would ask me what my favorite was at the concert, and my favorite, like from back in the day, my favorite is I really love Don't Judge Me and the message behind that and everything he's been through and how he overcame no matter what, like to be yourself in a world where people are constantly trying to make you out to be something else. Just that song, that's beautiful. I really love Sorry Enough as well from Indigo album because I really love that song. It's a hidden gem. So really love Passing Time. That's my favorite, and I was telling everyone on this tour like that's my favorite song, and some people were asking like Passing Time, I haven't heard that, and I go, it's a hidden gem, and I really love the meaning of it and everything, and
And then during like the shows as they were going on, like in the Dublin show, he'd perform Cab. But then as the times were going on, like removing some of the songs from the track list, weren't he? And he wasn't always playing them. And we don't know if it's because he didn't have time or people he wasn't getting the traction from them. But like Cab, we were so happy when he played it in Dublin. But then when we got to London and then Birmingham, he missed out loads of songs. But we were thinking maybe it's because he was going to the after party. But in Birmingham, he like missed out like
Passing
Time, Cab, Pitch Black. He did Psychic, I can't remember, and he missed some other songs as well, didn't he? Dream,
Lady
Lady in a black.
I think it's because he had an after party and he may have been tired, and I think
it was the last show in England.
But I remember, like, on the Dublin, he performed. I was so happy he performed that because it was just like he is his own person and he's come a long way, and that's what he wants to be known as, his own artist as well. But I think he's also made MJ very proud as well, because like when he pays homage to MJ, and like when he played he performed Forbidden, and just to see that live is just so amazing, like how they're dressed like MJ-esque, and the song and how he's dressed and just the vocals and everything like that, and how you hear it, and then seeing it live, like when he performed that, I was really, and we only seen that once, and I think he had only performed, I don't know if he had performed, I'm not sure if it was at other shows, but I know he did perform it at the Dublin show.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've seen him. I've seen him about 9-10 times, but I've seen him on the same tour like you did at more than one show. He actually performs different, like for different audiences. The audience, like, he feeds off the energy of the audience. That's what I find unique about him.
Yeah, like when he in the States, he did Your Man Ain't Me. People knew the lyrics, and we loved that song so much. Yeah. It's a classic. And like when he did that face, like his surprise face, his mannerism, like he was like, really, that song? And we were like, yeah, that song, we want that one. And like I think he must have been surprised, like, oh, that song's known out here. And like, because the vibe is different when you go into the States, and we've seen, and like we know that, and so I think I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, it was really fun too to see the people in the subway sing some of the old songs in the subway. That was a great treat. Did you take the subway home, or did y'all drive? Y'all drove a long way.
Yeah. I think they did that. I think that was in another country. I did see a video on it.
Paris?
Yeah, I think
they did it in Paris, but I think they also did it in London, because people were walking through the streets doing it in London.
Oh no, when we would like after the concert, everyone would get in there. We loved it because when it was in Dublin, they have like these little carts that like people want to go from their
like a bicycle cart.
Their bicycle cart.
Like,
all right.
And there's an umbrella of some sort, and people were like pressing Chris Brown on their phone.
Yeah, and like when it was the London shows, the people were like playing Chris and his song, and I was like, yeah, can we just stay here? I just want to listen to them. And and I was like, I love this. This is how it should be.
And then like, because we drove, when we were like walking past the cars, we could hear everyone in their cars listening to Chris at different songs.
Yeah.
That's great. See, that's the fun part about hearing everybody's experience at the tour, because you don't all see the same thing. That's an important thing about it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, it was
on the London show,
what number was it?
The 20th of March.
Yeah, on the 20th of March, when we, I think Privacy was coming on, and I was just standing there. My sister taps me, and then I see Aiko, and I'm like, and then I call out to him, and then many people knew who he. It was just me and my sister. That was a really special moment, because he's a beautiful child, like any child's beautiful, but we know that's British child. And then like when we didn't expect to see him, and like we saw him, and I called out to him, and then me and my sister were like I was saying like Aiko, and then he was like looking at me
on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. And I have it on my Instagram page, and I think Paula saw it, and and that moment was so special. He was calling out to his daddy. He goes, "Daddy," and then he was watching him, and then we called out to him again, and he just kept looking. Yeah, like he's like, she knows my name, and it's just his face, and that was I'll never forget that moment. It was just cute. It was special.
And we saw his dancers like throughout the tour. So that same night, we saw Sketch.
We saw Sketch. He's so loving as well. We were like, we love you, Sketch, and he was like, I love you too.
And he was like blowing kisses to us, which is really nice.
Yeah, he blew kisses.
And then in the Birmingham show, we saw, is it Hercules?
Yeah, we saw Hercules as well.
And then you were like, you rock, and he was like, thank you so much.
And I said, I love you to everyone, and I was like, I love you.
What's the song I'm going to ask you about? Take You Down. Now, there was one city he stopped doing it after a while, but
I think it was Paris or Berlin, because he stopped doing it, and we'd already been to 2 shows and he'd done it, and then we were like, oh, we hope he, does it when he comes back, and then he started a couple of shows, and then I think he came back with it because it's classic, isn't it?
That's very old. That's something I think because I don't know if you realize this. What he gave you was an element of every tour that you missed in the last 15 years.
No, we do know. He used to do it back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying that he gave you some element of each tour that you missed. And that particular one was from 2011, and he hasn't done it since. He hasn't done that since then. So
he used to do it on Fame Tour. And
Fame Tour. 2011, Fame Tour.
Yeah,
That's the
I
only
remember
time he did
that one.
it.
So, I realized that. No, I do know that.
But there's some people in the States who are like, oh, wait, they didn't do it for us. That's because we had that experience already in 2011.
I don't like when they say that, because I correct people when they say that, because I'm like, he has done that, and he used to do that back in the day, and he used to do it in the States. And they're like, oh, but he didn't do it on like one of them ones, but he wouldn't do that on one of them.
It's an old, that's an old routine.
Because the UK and Europe hasn't had shows for like over 10 years, so he's giving people what they've missed out on for like every year.
And we've been quite lucky because obviously we went to the Birmingham show in 2009, and then in 2012 we went to Paris, and then in 13 New York, and then in 18 New York, and then we saw him like last year at Wireless, and then Portugal. So we've been quite lucky to see him.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
We went to Portugal also. Yes, I remember he did that after
He did
Afro-Nation
Festival. So we had booked that initially, and then he had released the Wireless dates after. So we ended up missing the first day of Afro-Nation because we booked that tickets ages ago, and we ended up finishing him in London, and then we got a flight, didn't we, straight to Portugal?
Yeah.
And we were there in the morning to see him the next day at Afro-Nation.
But I think flights then were like it could have got cancelled. We were really lucky because I think flights were getting cancelled, like especially like in London and in Europe.
Right. Because there was so what had happened during COVID was a lot of staff members had been laid off. Then it was like the first year after COVID. It was like not the first year, but it was the first time after COVID where people finally going back on holiday, and they didn't have staff. And then there was an airline that had gone under and become bankrupt. So it was like loads of other different flights were getting cancelled. So we were quite worried when we finished the Wireless show and we were going to Portugal. Like, oh, we're going to get there, and we were fine. We were really lucky.
Yeah, we're so envious to hear all these places you get to go. They criticize us in the States about not traveling as much, but it costs us a lot of money because it's so far. But I know for you, those are really not long trips, long expensive trips.
No. So like Dublin is like 40 minutes, an hour flight.
Wow.
Portugal is Portugal's probably the longest. It's like 3 hours. Paris 2 hours. New York is obviously long for us. That's like 8 or 9 hours.
Right.
We have family there, so we come and visit. And then when we're doing all that as well, we want to see him. And the show atmosphere is very different. Like when we went to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn in 2018, I still say that's one of the best concerts I've been to, because the minute he came out, everyone stood on their chairs. We were like 2 rows from the front on, we were standing on our chairs, and the vibe was just completely different.
Yeah, like I think also when you go to festivals, that's very different as well, because like you're not very close, and you're like way in the back, and there's like whereas a concert, like if you get there early, then you're at the front, and you have
and it's just Chris, whereas festivals like at Afro-Nation, like before us there were other people, before Chris there were other artists, then after Chris there was I can't remember who was after Chris.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. And because I was like, who would be after Chris? He should close the show.
I know.
And so there's so many other artists, and people come different times, and people push a lot. Whereas at concert, everyone's got a designated seat.
Right. That's Yeah, and I think it's just that they get excited and overexcited in the crowds, but now see, I couldn't stand up that long. I see a lot of times there was like no seats at all. I'm like, I don't know how. I really don't know how people stand up like that. Honestly, I couldn't do an hours and hours.
We were like we would start the line at like 3 or 4 o'clock, and he wasn't coming on till like 9.
Ooh.
Yeah, but we were like only for Chris, no one else.
Yeah, because I saw, what was the last festival? Not the very last one, but the one before, in Thailand, the festival in Thailand. And there was somebody after him there too. But it's the funny thing is when he was watching somebody perform, I still don't know who it was. There were like crowds of people facing him. Like, wait. Yeah. He's not performing. He's just standing there watching whoever perform, and everybody's got their phone on him. That was really funny. I was like, that's some king stuff right there. That was really funny.
Yeah. No, and that happened like at the after party. Like everyone was just trying to see him, and like everyone had their phones. People trying to like creep into VIP. Girls are trying to talk to the bouncers to try and get in if they can get through. And it's just crazy.
Well, girls, I really appreciate you coming. I'm really glad we finally got to talk, and it was so easy because you just go. So I'm really grateful that y'all are so talkative and got to experience so much, and you love him so much. It's always great to have real Team Breezy on the channel because the talk, the Breezy talk is just flows. So it's always fun.
Yeah, we're always gonna be there for him and support him, and they're going to support him, and we love him so much. We're always gonna love him unconditionally.
Day one. We were like day one at the concert.
We're always gonna love him unconditionally.
My sister was wearing a top with the picture of her and Chris on her
feet. Oh yes.
Show him.
Yeah, that's the cutest picture. It's like, oh my God, y'all look like babies.
Thank you.
Very long time ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's amazing how that time has gone by. Well, thank you so much for coming. Nikki, you want to take us out?
Thank you so much for joining us today, Theo, in Brooklyn, and sharing your stories and about seeing Chris in concert. Thank you, everybody else, for tuning into our podcast and listening, and we'll catch you all next Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode, and we hope you'll join us again at the Vanguard.